Hey, have you ever wondered what happens when a genius builds an empire that captures the world's memories only to see it crumble from the inside? What if the very invention that could have saved a company was buried by its own leaders? Stick around, because today we're diving into the epic tale of George Eastman and Kodak, a story of triumph, innovation, and a shocking downfall that still echoes in boardrooms everywhere. If you're loving these deep dives into business legends and their lessons, hit that like button right now and subscribe with notifications on. It really helps us bring you more stories like this. Your support means we can keep uncovering these hidden histories that change how you see success. All right, let's jump in. Imagine a young man in 19th century America, not born into wealth or privilege, but driven by sheer curiosity and grit. Picture Rochester, New York in the 1870s, a bustling industrial hub where factories churn and dreams take shape amid the clatter of machinery. That's where George Eastman enters our story, born on July 12, 1854, in the small town of Waterville. His father, a school founder, passes away early, leaving young George to drop out of school at 14 to support his mother and sisters. He starts as a junior clerk at an insurance company, earning a modest $15 a week. But his eyes light up when a colleague mentions a trip to photograph the Niagara Falls. Photography, that cumbersome art of glass plates, toxic chemicals, and dark rooms, George is hooked. He buys a camera, a heavy wooden box that requires mixing emulsions and coating plates himself, a process so messy and time-consuming it takes days. But here's the spark. George thinks, why can't this be simpler? Why can't anyone capture a moment without being a chemist? That's the seed of revolution, folks, planted in frustration. Fast forward to 1879. George, now 25 and working at a bank, tinkers in his mother's kitchen. Yes, that tiny space becomes Kodak's first lab. He invents a dry plate coating machine, eliminating wet plates that had to be prepared on site. No more spilling chemicals in the field. He patents it and, with investor Henry Strong, founds the Eastman Dry Plate Company in 1881. Strong handles the money. George runs everything else. They're selling plates hand over fist. But George isn't satisfied. Glass plates are breakable, heavy, perfect for studios, terrible for everyday folks. He dreams of flexible film. Years of failures follow. Paper strips warp, emulsions crack. But in 1884, he patents American film on paper base, then nitrocellulose roll film in 1889 with chemist Henry Reichenbach. Commenting here, this is pure persistence. Most would quit after a dozen flops, but Eastman iterates like a modern startup founder, testing thousands of formulas. It's not luck, it's obsessive refinement. Now, the game changer, 1888. George coins Kodak, a nonsense word sharp and memorable because he wants a global brand that rolls off the tongue. The Kodak Noir. One camera launches, $25, preloaded with 100 exposure roll film. Slogan, you press the button, we do the rest. Mail it back. Get prints and a reloaded camera for $10. Boom! Photography democratized. No darkroom skills needed. Suddenly, families, travelers, kids snap memories. Orders flood in. George struggles to keep up. By 1892, the Eastman Dry Plate Company becomes Eastman Kodak, incorporated with massive growth. Here's an original take. Eastman nailed the razor and blades model before Gillette. Cameras are cheap loss leaders, film refills print money, genius business foresight, revenue from consumables, not hardware. By 1900, the Brownie camera hits for $1 aimed at children. Photography explodes from elite hobby to mass phenomenon. Let's zoom out on Kodak's golden ascent. Under Eastman's vision, the company monopolizes film supply. He supplies everyone, even rivals, turning competitors into partners. By 1915, Kodak employs 8,000 in Rochester, the city's biggest boss. Revenue? $15.7 million annually. Eastman builds Kodak Park, a vast campus that's part city, part factory. He pioneers welfare capitalism, profit sharing in 1912, workman's comp in 1910, wage dividends. Employees get stock cheap, benefits galore, loyalty skyrockets. Unions? Non-issue. Workers see Kodak as family. During WWI, Kodak trains pilots, supplies aerial film. Post-war, innovations pour out, Kodachrome precursors, X-ray films. Motion pictures? Edison's crew begs for Kodak stock. George becomes Hollywood's film kingpin. By the 1920s, Kodak's in the Dow Jones, second biggest silver buyer after the U.S. Treasury. Eastman's mantra: quality film at scale. Comment: this isn't just business, it's societal shift. Memories weren't disposable before Kodak. Now they're accessible, preserved forever. Eastman captures light, but also human joy. But Eastman's no lone wolf. He surrounds himself with talent. Kenneth Meese heads research labs in 1912, driving color film breakthroughs. Philanthropy flows too, anonymously at first as Mr. Smith. He funds University of Rochester's med school, Eastman School of Music dental clinics worldwide. Over $100 million donated, billions today. Why? Repaying his mother's sacrifices, yes, but also believing wealth creates duty. Original insight. Eastman's employee model prefigures Google perks. Happy workers innovate more. Turnover? Tiny. Rochester booms around Kodak. By 1930, sales top billions adjusted. Cameras like Instamatic loom on horizon. Yet Eastman steps back in 1925, chairman till end. His health fades. Spinal issues hobble him. On March 14, 1932, at 77, he ends his life neatly, note reading, "My work is done, why wait?" Kodak mourns its visionary. Post-Eastman, Kodak soars higher. 1935, true Kodachrome, first viable color slide film. WW2 pivots to war, fuses, fibers, even Manhattan Project uranium work. Peacetime, acetate safety film, kills nitrate dangers, NASA cams, superglue. 1960s, Instamatic revolutionizes again, 50 million sold. Revenue hits $2 billion by 1966. Brownie evolves. Polaroid fights, but Kodak dominates 80 and 90% U.S. film market. Peak dominance, 1976, 85% cameras, 90% film. Golden era, Kodak moment enters lexicon for life's highlights. Now, the pivot, or lack thereof. Here's where drama builds. Inside Kodak Labs, 1975, engineer Steve Sasson, fresh grad, builds first digital camera prototype. 8 pounds, cassette tape storage, 0.01 megapixel B&W, clunky, but digital. Records images electronically, no film. Sasson demos to bosses. This could change everything. Response? Interesting, but don't tell anyone. It eats film sales. File it away. Why? Film's a cash cow. 70% margins. Digital. Threatens core. Original analysis. Classic innovator's dilemma. Kodak invents disruptor, but fears cannibalization. Sasson predicts digital shift by 2010. Ignored. Labs fund digital quietly via Eastman's nickel. 5% film sales to R&D, but execs prioritize quarterly profits. 1980s cracks show. Fujifilm enters U.S., a cheaper film. 1984 Olympics? Fuji snags sponsorship, Kodak fumes. Fuji builds U.S. plants, cuts prices 20%. Kodak share slips. Internally, digital stirs. CCD sensors, photo CD, but half-hearted. CEOs Colby Chandler, K. Whitmore chase diversification. Chemicals, drugs. Buy Sterling drug for 5B. Flop, sold at loss. Unix Software Ventures, duds. Culture ossifies, labs innovate, management disconnects, employees loyal but risk-averse. Comment: Kodak's welfare capitalism breeds complacency. Golden handcuffs chain innovation. Fuji adapts, diversifies into meds, cosmetics. Kodak clings to film. 1990s tension mounts. George Fisher, ex-Motorola, takes helm 1993. Ditches chemicals, pushes digital kiosks, quick-take cams. Film sales peak as digital creeps. 1996 revenue 16B, profits 2.5B. But Fuji bites, Velvia rivals, Kodachrome Pros, WTO spat. Kodak loses Japan claims. Digital cameras launch, Kodak NR1 US 2005, but margins razor thin versus film. Asian rivals flood cheap digicoms. Smartphones loom, phone cams kill point shoots. By 2007, Kodak NR4 digicom sales. Film plummets. 2000's desperation. Antonio Perez, 2005, outsourced manufacturing, shutters film plants, bets inkjets. Printers cheap, ink pricey. Critics scoff. HP dominates, layoffs, 50K gone. Kodachrome axed 2009, cash burns 1.6B, 2001 to 957 of 2011. Patents litigate for cash, sue Apple, LG wins millions, but debts mount. 2012, Chapter 11, bankruptcy, assets 5.1B, liabilities 6.75B. Sells 1,100 digital patents for 527 memos to Apple, Google consortium. Exits cameras, kiosks. Restructuring emerges 2013 slimmer, printing focused. Rochester hurts. Poverty spikes, GDP stalls. Lessons: innovate or die. Kodak invented digital, ignored it. Culture killed agility. Fuji thrives via adaptation. Original comment: Eastman's razor blades genius became trap. Addicted to film highs, blind to shift. Leadership post-Eastman lacked his boldness. What a ride. From kitchen experiments to global icon, then ashes. George built Kodak on simplifying joy. Successors protected profits over progress. Imagine if they'd embraced Sasson's camera. History rewritten. Final thoughts. Kodak's saga warns every creator, business owner, adapt or fade. Your empire today could crumble tomorrow without pivot. What's your take? Drop in comments. Would you have bet on digital early or protected film gold mine? Have you faced similar innovator dilemmas in your work? Like, subscribe for more breakdowns. Next, a survival empire's rise. See you.